Hey folks, welcome to Minerals, Rocks, and Fossil Talks. I'm Jen, your geology teacher, and today, for Wordplay Wednesday, we're going to talk about bentonite. Have you ever just been kind of out walking around along in the desert, minding your own business when you start to feel weighted down and it gets harder and harder to pick up your feet because the mud is sticky and pulling you into the ground? That is bentonite. Bentonite is a type of very soft plastic clay that is primarily made of montmorillonite clay. Montmorillonite is a hydrous aluminum silicate in the smectite group, which, just for your information, often you will hear geologists using bentonite and smectite interchangeably. So keep that in mind. Bentonite is formed by the alteration of volcanic ash when it comes into contact with water. Clays in general will form from the chemical breakdown of feldspars. And if you're new and haven't checked it out yet, go back to my October posts and learn more about feldspars. So, taking those clays that are already being broken down chemically, when ash gets thrown into the mix, something very nasty happens. Swelling clays. Bentonite increases greatly in volume when water is added, and decreases just as much when water evaporates. This causes the popcorn texture that you see in badland topography, like in this photograph here. This photograph I took just up the hill from the Evil Tree bone bed that I work at. It's in the Brushy Basin member of the Morrison Formation. We've got a sauropod rib kind of crumbling to pieces in this mud because of the swelling clays, honestly. Because the swelling clay is filled with water and then dried out and cracked, it also caused the fossil to fracture, and it's dusting it. I don't particularly like finding bones in bentonite. We have another site north of where we're at that we call dust to dust because it is bones like this in the bentonite. It's just crummy. And just like our bones, bentonite can cause structural damage to buildings. My aunt actually works in construction, and she lived in Denver for a very long time, and often she was working on damaged basements and other foundations from this swelling clay that we have on the Pierre Shale out on the Rocky Mountain front. You can see the same thing happening in Utah with the Manco Shale. In Montana, a lot of the ranchers have to go out and periodically fix their fence posts because the swelling clays will actually pop the fence posts out and knock the fences over. So, swelling clays, not great. It also becomes very dangerous to drive on or walk on when it gets wet because it becomes this slurry, sticky mess. And that is the main reason why we don't go out to our dig site until the summertime. In the spring, it's just too wet and mucky, and it's not safe to drive over the Manco Shale to get to our dig site, let alone being safe at our dig site to even get in there because we're in the middle of all of those swelling clays in the one sandstone layer we have. So it's just not a good compost. We have to wait until the summer when it's dried out enough to get to that popcorn texture, which is still not particularly safe to walk on, but it's safer than that. Now, before you go getting this idea that bentonite is all bad, there are good things that bentonite does. We actually use it in a lot of personal grooming products like shampoo, facial masks, because it helps trap moisture into our skin and our hair and keeps us from drying out. It's the same reason that rhinos and elephants will roll in mud. It's protection. It's great sunblock. If for some reason you go out to the dig site and you forgot your sunscreen and it's getting real bad, just wet some of that bentonite or dig down deep because if you get far enough down, it's still pretty wet. You can just rub it on your skin and use it as a natural sunblock. You can put it on bug bites and it stops the itching. I have done that. It's a great relief for that. Put it on burns, sunburns, things like that. Feels great. And I bet you didn't know that we put bentonite into our Frosties to give them that smooth texture. So it's edible, in case you were wondering. I wouldn't eat large amounts of it, and not without it being mixed in with some sugar and milk, but hey, we use it in Frosties. It's also used in agriculture as a natural herbicide, pesticide, and fungicide. So it's mixed in with a lot of fertilizers. Plus, I mean, it's based in volcanic ash, and volcanic ash has a lot of really good minerals that's good for growing your plants too. So it's got a lot of good uses. The final one I'll mention is that bentonite is also used to coat drills in the oil industry to keep them lubricated, and it's also used to keep the well hole from collapsing. So they'll coat the well wall in bentonite, and it'll keep the well from collapsing onto the drill, because that would be unfortunate. And if you're a geek like me, Avatar: The Last Airbender basically uses that. That's all bentonite, essentially. I mean, not quite, but you get the idea. It coats everything, and it's sticky, and keeps things lubricated, and it's slurry, and, you know, any excuse to put Avatar in here, right? So I hope you guys learned something new about bentonite, and I hope you guys have a good week. I will fossilize you later.